CNA related.
Thank you, Jan. Okay, everyone, welcome. It's April 1st, 2024 at 5 p.m. It's time to call the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order. Mrs. Jones, roll call, please.
Mayor Barnett,
Present.
Mr. Austin,
Here.
Ms. Gross,
Present.
Mayor, you have the floor.
Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. All right, thank you, everyone. Is there any announcements, public comment that is not related to the agenda? Seeing none, I have one real quick. Brightspeed. So we've all heard about cable pollution and what we're doing there, trying to work on that. Brightspeed did reimburse the city for $12,815.90 last week for a line that they bored through several years ago. So we are making some headway and we are getting some stuff taken care of, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to report that to the board that did happen. Okay, anybody else?
It's not an April Fool's joke.
It's not April Fool's.
No fooling, that really did happen. Right. No fooling.
So, all right. Good one, Krista. Okay, that gets us to the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for March 18th meeting at the Board of Works and the approval of claims unless there has been any additions or subtractions to it.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there isn't any old business. We'll go right into the new business and the Riverfront liquor license application, Iozzo's on Jefferson. Katie Harris, can you come up here, and Krista will kind of help walk you through this, I believe, and Lynn, one of them will help you.
Yeah. So Katie, I think you know this is our first one, so bear with us.
That's
We're
okay.
learning too. But we have our first application for downtown Riverfront District liquor license, and this is for Iozzo's on Jefferson. So Katie has submitted her application and also the appendix where she describes the restaurant, the floor plans, the blueprints, all of those kind of things, the number of employees, everything that we have requested. And so she is here tonight to answer any questions that you may have about her application, and then hopefully we will move on to the next step.
So Katie, can you give us just a quick overview of what your plans are and when you're going to start construction and?
Sure, absolutely. So we are finalizing our plans right now with our MEP engineering. That's kind of been our holdup. So it's a beautiful historic building, and we would like to be able to utilize the second story. The structural was not rated for gathering space. It was rated for 44 pounds a square foot, where the gathering space needs to be about 100 pounds per square foot. So we brought in the structural engineers, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineers. So they are finalizing their drawings and should be able to submit our permits to the state in Johnson County and to Franklin simultaneously here within the next few weeks. And then construction would then begin directly after. We're guessing 12 weeks for construction, and then plan to be open at the end of June or early July after a year of delays.
Okay. Any
Love your lasagna, by the way, to the extent.
It's our number one seller.
Yeah, is it? All right.
So Kenny or Tina, this being our first one, and there's a lot of information that was given to us to look over. Do you guys have any questions for Katie or for Krista?
And
or
Katie, you
myself?
do know that we simply make a recommendation.
Yes,
then
that's
go forward
correct, yes, and then with the
license.
HTC, yes, I hold a license in current standing for 15 years with our current restaurant, and actually hold 2 additional perments with
Yeah,
us.
I do like your limoncellos as well. But in all seriousness, Krista was kind enough to send this to me before it was placed on the Board of Works agenda, and to the extent it is, we have guidelines that we've adopted. It meets all of our guidelines. It's completely your discretion as Board of Works members. But we do have things that they have to submit to us. So in terms of what is required to be submitted to us, they have complied with all those requirements.
I noticed that she said that 70% of their sales is food. Do we have a minimum
percentage on that, or?
We do not. We basically say set forth within our guidelines of, that it's primarily a restaurant because of the concern of making them bar districts and things of that nature. But
Okay.
yeah, we're sitting.
Yeah, and just for insurance purposes on a restaurant end, they require to see at least 70 to 75% of food sales.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
we researched other riverfront districts. There were a couple of communities that required a minimum food sales per year, and quite honestly, I really didn't want to be investigating that. So I feel like if they had a good plan and we knew that this was mainly a restaurant anyway, that the application met the other criteria, so.
And because you do have discretion, if you haven't a firm amount, you may have an applicant that you come in that from a community standards sense, you think this is more a restaurant that has a liquor license with it as opposed to a liquor license. So we wanted to leave you that discretion and not have some arbitrary amount. It's obviously still subject to all of the rules of the alcohol.
So what you're saying is if we had somebody come in and they just wanted a bar and they wanted a three-way license, we can say no.
You can say
if
no.
we choose
That's
to
correct.
say no.
That's
So-
correct. Because we put a stated purpose and intent in there, that it's intended to assist with the development of our restaurants and destination kind of things in there. So the concern was if you said 70% food, they would have some, they'd serve hot dogs out of a microwave or something and say that's our food requirements, and that's really not what the intent is. And so you still have some discretion, but we didn't put an arbitrary percentage amount.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad you're the first one, so.
I'm glad to be the guinea pig, so we're ready to get open, so.
And just for the record, I know you have a lease with the Franklin Development Corporation, which some people think that's a city-owned building, which it's not. It belongs to Franklin Development Corporation.
Yes.
Yeah, and you've been paying them, and I'm just putting that on the record so everybody knows that.
Yeah, been paying rent since, I think, October was our first, yes,
You're ready to open.
very much so.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
So-
Menus are done, furniture's picked out. As soon as we get the stamps for the design release forms, we are rocking and rolling, so.
Do you have any idea, once we send this forward, how long it's going to take them?
For the ATC, I am not sure what their turnaround is. I know that you have to allow at least, I think, 45 days for like that big orange sticker to be in the window. I think there's an affidavit that you have to submit.
And a remonstrance period, I think
Yes,
they give you?
yeah, they allow people to come in, and then I would meet down here at the annex building and in front of the Johnson County ATC board, and
Right.
they would want to see all these plans, fire marshal approval, and making sure that the egresses are, seating code is, bathrooms and all that stuff, so.
Okay,
Makes sense.
I'm good with it.
If you so approve, the next thing will happen is Crystal will write a letter on city letterhead, shipping it down there, so they'll need to go forward, if you approve this.
Already did it.
You got one?
Okay.
Okay. So I think this is going to be a great addition to the community.
We're so excited to
We're
be
excited
here.
to have you here. So I will make a motion to recommend the Riverfront liquor license application from Iozzo's on Jefferson.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Katie.
Appreciate the information. Okay, next item, request approval for use of 3 parking spots in the southwest corner parking lot across from 66 Water Street for Kona Ice on April 15th from 12 to 2 p.m. You're not Pamela, but come on up here and please.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I'm from Festival Country. I'm the PR and events manager. Kona Ice wants to partner with us on tax day and give out free ice cones from noon to 2 on April 15th. And they're requesting for 3 parking spots on the southwest corner of the
Okay,
Ice's
and-
building.
And I did have a discussion with you just a few minutes ago, if you thought it would be okay. Tara and I were talking today on, it'd be more than 3, by the time we ended up, blocking it off, and it'd be more than 3 spots. So we were wondering today, and I think you agree, that we put it in our parking lot for a couple hours, right out front here in the corner. That would be are you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then get with Tara when you get ready to do that on that day?
Yep. I can
You're
definitely
talking
do
about the
that.
city parking lot as opposed to the public city parking lot?
Yes,
across
the
street.
parking lot just right out here for a couple hours, like where I usually park my truck. I can move my truck. and-
There's just so much traffic over in that lot.
Yeah,
like
it's hard to-
pedestrian traffic and
You have a lot of pedestrians walking around and probably a little safer. And plus you're closer to getting the free ice cream.
We don't have to cross the street to get the ice cream, right?
That's what I thought perhaps.
Shaved
So,
ice.
are you think
Shaved
that's
ice, I'm
okay?
sorry.
You think that's okay?
Yep, yes, sir. I'll talk to Ken and Pamela, and we'll be ready.
Okay. All right, so I would make a motion that we allow Kona Ice on April 15th from 12 o'clock to 2 PM to utilize the City Hall parking lot, working with Tara on where to park on that day.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, request approval of substantial completion certificate for screening building at wastewater treatment, Westler Engineering. Gary.
Thank you. This is the certificate of substantial completion. Substantial completion for this project. These types of projects means the owners receiving beneficial use out of it. It's working for the purpose intended. It doesn't mean the job's complete, but it's down to very minor items referred to as punch list items. So this is a pretty major milestone because this signifies that the owner's accepting the facility and taking responsibility for it and so forth. There is some retainage that will be kept. I think on this project, 5% of the total project was about $180,000, so it's a pretty good chunk of money the contractor would like to get. And we're releasing, I believe, $147,000, keeping $38,800 to make sure they complete the remaining items.
Okay, and I know, Mark, Joanna had a question today or something with Sally. Did they get taken care of?
I don't know that the inspectors have been out to take a look at the building yet, but they'll want to do that to issue a certificate of occupancy for the building.
Okay, so you're good to release the retainage?
Yes.
And that was the main thing today. I wanted you to tell us.
Yes.
Okay.
And on this document, I think the mayor needs to sign this on the board's behalf.
Yeah, I've got 2 copies, though.
Okay.
Provide, 2 hard copies for the sign.
Okay. Did you hear that one on the mayor sign? On behalf of the board?
No.
Okay. So how much is it we're going to be releasing of the retainage?
Around $147,000, I believe.
Okay, and what we are going to have on retainage is the 38.
38,800.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to release all the retainage except for the 38.8. And that has to, right here's the items. There was a list of items that still needed to be done. That's on the document that was put online. It's about, looks like $19,400 worth of stuff to still be done, correct?
And then we times it by 2.
And then you times it by 2 is how you
Give
come
them
up with the new
incentive to get it
tonnage.
done, yeah.
Yep, okay.
And as a practical matter, Mayor, part of our contract with these contractors requires us to do this. And that this is a milestone date within the contract. And so once you get to this point, we do have to have a certification. And I will tell you, I've worked with Gary on other projects. He's really good about making sure everything is done and that we keep the retainage back. Just a props, because he goes through line by everything that's required under the contract before they do it. And he holds the contractor's feet to the fire, so.
Thank you.
I appreciate you doing that. 'cause
Helps having a good contractor, too.
Have they been good? Have they
Yes.
been good to work with?
Yeah, we work with this Mitchell and Stark quite a bit on projects.
That's good to hear.
Okay. Hopefully I don't slaughter this. So
You'll be fine.
I'll make a motion to approve the substantial completion certificate for screening buildings at the wastewater treatment plant as presented by Westler Engineering, with the caveat that $38,800 is kept in retainage for the items illustrated in the exhibit as a punch list.
I think that was a good one.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's pieced together, but,
And the mayor signed.
Mayor to sign.
and have the mayor sign it.
I'll second. I think it was excellent, Kenny. That was a good one.
Nailed it.
I'll second the motion. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Gary.
And I'll get with Joanna on getting the final inspection from the city scheduled.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Just smack it.
kick it. Okay.
See, there it works.
Okay, next item. Approval of resolution 24, nope, I missed one.
No.
Approval of Memorial Day Mile event, Fire Chief Josh Snyder.
Yes, sir. May 27th, they're wanting to do the Memorial Mile Run. It's a huge event. Been doing it for 10 years now. We took advantage of the amphitheater. They start there, they finish there. Nothing new, just wanting to get the board's approval. Captain Stahl and I will coordinate on the road closures and having the barricades up with Jason Wilson from the street department. And it's just a great event for the city to have, so.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I can do those easy ones.
You can, can't you? Good job.
Okay, next item, approval of resolution 24-05, approving resolution accepting transfer of real estate and establishing terms and conditions pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-11-8, City Attorney Lynn Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One of the fun things about this job sometimes is the ability to look into our archives and history and figure out what things have occurred, and I have no idea how this occurred. At some point in time, in the 1900s, the school owned what is now the Booker T. Washington Community Center, as well as the basketball courts and the tennis courts that are adjacent to that. Somewhere along the line, Roger Young, the school's attorney, reached out to me and said, Lynn, we've discovered that the tennis courts and the basketball courts are still in the name of the school corporation, but not the current school corporation, the predecessor to the school corporation. And would the city like to have them since you've been occupying them? And I thought that would be a good idea, since last year we renamed the community center, and we don't really even own it. And we renamed it. We honestly, Roger and I looked everywhere through archives, not real sure how it happened, but at the end of the day, we have occupied it, used it, paid for all the expenses associated with it for years and years and years and years. So the school corporation has, no need for it, and the city has, in fact, does have a need for it as we use it as our community center. I would like to say on the record, even though this occurred, there has been no really effect to the taxpayers, because both entities are non-tax paying entities. So nobody has been deprived of tax dollars. The school wouldn't pay them, we wouldn't pay them. And we have paid for all the expenses associated with it, but we've also had the use of all the expenses. So the way that we get this titled in the right name for us is for the school corporation to pass a resolution proposing the transfer, and we pass a substantially identical resolution accepting the transfer. Actually, originally we thought it was just the tennis courts and the basketball courts next to it. Then we found out the community center also wasn't in our name. Thank you, Chip, for finding that out. I don't think there's anything else out there that occupying we don't own. But stay tuned. I've looked at, my best guess was sometime the school corporation and the mayor at that point in time said, you guys want to do this? And they said, yeah, sure.
Is that 1947
Oh,
on the documents?
It could be, yeah. I mean, we literally looked, Roger and I looked and looked and looked, and we don't know, but we know how to fix it, so.
49?
The only reason it came up was because in January, we got stormwater sewer bills for the tennis courts.
You're welcome.
My plan didn't
So
work.
that started everything.
Yeah. Well, and Roger reached out, and then I called him back, and I said, well, Roger, can we also have the community center that we renamed last year? And he said, sure. So we had a big production. So anyway, this is the fix to it. I would note that the school corporation is simply quit claiming it to us, as opposed to a general warranty deed. I feel comfortable that there isn't anybody else out there that has any claim of title to this, but the school corporation, in its appropriate discretion, does not want to give us a warranty deed because they don't know how it got to this point either. So I think we're comfortable accepting a quitclaim deed for no consideration. That's my presentation.
All right, I will make a motion to approve Resolution 24-5, accepting transfer of real estate and establishing terms and conditions pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-11-8.
Second, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye. I didn't know if the Exhibit A in 3 parts and Exhibit B in 3 parts needed to be included in the proposal.
Yeah, it's referenced in the actual resolution as Exhibit A and B.
Not a problem, not a problem.
So we're
Thank
good.
you.
Okay, next item, request approval and execution of amendment number 1 to the City of Franklin NDOT interlocal agreement for the US 31 corridor project. City Engineer Mark Richards.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Back just a touch over 4 years ago, the city and NDOT entered into the interlocal agreement. If you recall, that was about the time that the brakes got slammed on everything due to COVID. Since that time, there have been some cost increases in the estimated cost of the project. The city was originally, had agreed in that interlocal agreement to pay the design cost of $3.2 million. There have been, some of the cost increases have been on items that the city has specifically requested, such as pedestrian facilities, lighting, that sort of thing. Because there has been a fairly significant cost increase, the original project cost was about $48.5 million. The current estimate is it's up to a touch over $62 million now. So NDOT requested last fall that the city participate in some of the costs for those items. We also did some value engineering and eliminated some items that we felt we could live without on the project, and came to an agreement that we would fund an additional $1,196,500. NDOT also wanted us to pay some extra design fees that we objected to because a lot of those design fees, well, part of them were things that NDOT requested to be changed, that they directed the engineer to make those changes without consulting with the city first, even though the city was paying the design fees. So we objected to that. NDOT is now going to cover that $326,000 in additional costs on the design. So we won't have any additional costs on design fees. We will have the $1.196 million in additional construction cost, and NDOT will cover everything else. So our total contribution is $4,396,500, and NDOT's contribution is $57,679,895. We'll be paying, assuming the estimated costs come in accurately, our cost will be about 7% of the total project cost. So NDOT has given us this draft interlocal agreement. The Board of Works will need to sign it, the City Council will need to sign it, and the Redevelopment Commission will need to sign it because all three of those bodies were signatory to the original agreement. Lynn, have I missed anything?
No, I don't think so, but I think what's important for this purpose is, because Mark's right, there was about $340,000 that was built in there for our costs that We push back on, that's the design cost and things like that. So you'll note in this amendment, where there's the provision here, the city shall also be solely responsible for any and all costs for aesthetics in an estimated amount of 1 million, including any and all change orders related to aesthetic improvements, and as approved by the city in writing, prior to the increase of the obligations. And that was absolutely critical to me, because there are things we want, trails and things of that nature that they wouldn't put in there. But we did want that little control language in there that we're approving them, because of the experience of the 330 that magically appeared that we did not approve of, nor did we request in the designs. So that's all I have to add.
Mark, this particular project, does it fall under the category of these up to 20% increase in change order costs?
It would, because that is part of state statute. The 5% allowance that's listed on the exhibit at the end of the document, that's a placeholder that NDOT's put in there for change orders. If that's where we would get into some of this negotiation and prior approval. If we get over that 5% cost, that NDOT is going to expect the city to contribute, if not all of it, at least part of it.
In your professional opinion, do you think that they're going to hold this against us? I mean, the arbitration that you guys had for this particular situation?
No, not at all.
300,000 and, okay.
No, I mean, it's just what you should do. You know, when you're doing an arm length
I
transaction.
will say that we have a good
Yeah.
relationship.
Oh, I understand.
with them.
I'm just asking
Yeah,
questions.
and right after we, just for an example, right after we did the pushback of doing that, we got the grant for the sidewalks. It wasn't like a month
Yeah.
later, so it didn't.
Yeah, and I don't mean to imply that there was anything, you know, underhanded about it.
No, I'm not suggesting that there is.
You know, it was just,
I think when we pointed out why we objected, NDOT saw our point of view.
they saw our point of view.
I was going to say, it seems pretty clear.
Yeah. Well, but when you get with numbers this high, when you get with projects this big, when you get with all of the moving parts,
Absolutely.
you know, kudos to Mark and his staff. I mean, they go, I'm handing out kudos to everybody, no April Fools intended. The truth of the matter is they go through line by line but this is a huge, huge, huge project.
20% of those numbers are real big, too.
Yeah,
And that's the scary part.
yeah.
So the only thing that I want to add, Mark, is, and we talked today about it, I think you asked me, edit funds is where we're going to get the funds for this, and it should come, we shouldn't be paying this until sometime January, late December, early January, is that correct?
Yes.
So we have the funds there, we're good, it's not a problem, and the city council, through their budget, had already approved the edit funds to be used for this kind of stuff, so,
I recognize that as well.
yeah, so that's where we'll get the funds from,
The future was,
right,
So NDOT will manage this project financially, right?
correct.
Okay, we're just writing checks.
The NDOT will manage it from, both financially and from a construction standpoint, because they'll hold the contract with the contractor, and they will be providing all of the inspection services themselves.
Okay,
The $3.2 million, it's already been paid, and that was paid by the RDC.
okay.
Over a period.
Over
of-
several years,
yeah, Over several years of
I
trying to
was,
get that done.
I
This
was-
actually this actually started in 2017.
Yep.
So if everybody's wondering what's the difference in the price, 48.5 to 62 million, that's the difference in the years, what that did to us, so. Did to everybody, not just us. Okay,
All right. I'll make a motion to approve and execute amendment number 1 to City of Franklin / NDOT interlocal agreement for US 31 corridor project.
second.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next item, request approval and execution of design agreement for Graham Road reconstruction project, subject to funding approval by the RDC at its April meeting. City engineer, Mark Richards.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a contract with Crossroad Engineers. The proposal that was submitted to us included design, right-of-way acquisition services, and inspection. The total amount of the total estimated project fee is $741,685. That's a cost not to exceed. Part of this, as I said, is inspection in an amount of $320,000. We will not issue a notice to proceed for that. We are asking the redevelopment commission to appropriate $421,685, which is the total fee less the inspection fee. And as the mayor said, this would be subject to RDC funding of the project, which is expected to occur on April 16th of this month.
So I just want to point this out to Gary, who's sitting in the crowd. You notice they put the inspection in there. And remember, so I asked them, so you just know I'm not picking on you sometimes. I asked them to know that number at the same time, so we just know, although we're not approving the inspection, but we know that's coming in probably, Mark, the work will probably be 2026?
I'd say 2026. Yeah, design will get started as soon as we get the funding approval. And I should mention, this is for the section of Graham Road between Earlywood Drive and Paul Hand Road.
Okay. I hope it lasts till 26, the way it's starting to
You know,
look.
it's not in that bad a shape. It's just so narrow, and with the legal drain on the west side of it, it's kind of dangerous.
Okay. Any other questions?
So do you have an estimated cost for the project?
I don't have, we'll be getting an estimated cost as part of the design services. They'll provide that. We're gonna be, I'm gonna say, a lot of it will depend on the relocation of the legal drain. It will be part of the project, and the costs that we incur there. We're also talking with the surveyor's office about partnering on that part of the project. So I don't have a good estimate for cost right now.
I think we were thinking, it's just me, about 2.5 million compared to other roads that I've seen. And we're also thinking the drainage ditch is gonna cost as much, if not more, than the road.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think we're in about a $5 million
total
range.
project, that's,
Yep.
hopefully it's under that, but
So isn't this a pretty high cost for design then?
High cost for design?
At 30%?
30%.
If it's a $2.5 million project and,
The design includes the drainage.
okay, so,
So it's about a $5 million project, and we're at 320, or, yeah.
okay, so that's inflating it a little
420,000.
bit.
So we're under 10%.
With the design and plan preparations, 216 of the total.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
okay, that makes sense.
because this includes all the other follow-ups.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve the execution of design agreement for Graham Road reconstruction project, subject to funding approval by the RDC at its April meeting.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next item, request approval of change order number 3 for the County Road 200 North, Simon Road Roundabout Project, City Engineer Mark Richards.
Yes, sir. This is a final change order. It's a balancing change order to account for all the variation in quantities. The original project award amount was $1,287,000. We did have a couple of change orders that had a net reduction of about a little over $1,000 down to $1,285,899. This change order will further reduce the project cost by $77,266.32 The revised project amount, total project amount is $1,208,632.68. So I would recommend approval of this.
I don't know why, but that was one of our cheaper roundabouts that got constructed. That was, the utilities not as heavily involved.
Very little in the way of utilities. The weather, they didn't lose a day to weather out there. It was very, very smoothly run project.
Does it come in under engineer's
I started to say,
estimate?
what was the engineer's estimate? It
Yeah,
was
it-
even higher than that, wasn't it?
It was higher than that,
Yeah,
yeah.
it come in under engineer's estimates, and then it ended up being less than what they bid, so that's good. Good job.
Make a motion to approve change order number 3 for County Road 200 North and Simon Road Roundabout project.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item, request approval of change order number 1 and 2 for the Water Street Parking Project. City Engineer Mark Richards.
Yes, change order number 1 is it adds a line item in the contract for a variation in the concrete curb and sidewalk. It results in a reduction in construction cost of $1,303.83. You want to take that one first, or you want to do them both at the same time?
We can probably take that one and then do the next one.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 1 for the Water Street Parking Project as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 2.
And number 2 is an increase, it's the final balancing change order. This increases the project cost by $11,281.94. The final project cost is $86,934.35. I believe the overall increase is about 15% on this, so we're under the
I did the
20%
maths
max.
when I was reviewing, so we're still okay.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 2 for the Water Street Parking Project as
Second.
presented.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There's no other business. We'll go into department reports. Sally, how about, we'll start at your end this time.
Nothing.
Okay, Mark, anything?
Nothing today?
Brett?
I don't have anything, sir.
Krista?
Nothing additional.
Rick?
Nothing, sir.
Sherry?
Nope, I don't have anything.
Chief?
We're all set for the weekend.
Good.
How's that weather forecast?
Yeah. Chief, how about you?
I don't have anything.
Chip?
We got nothing going on. No, I'm just kidding. April Fools. Yeah, it's the eclipse, obviously, weekend. Looks like the weather is going to cooperate. So
Really?
It is. Doesn't look like it's going to rain until late Monday, so that's good. The concert on Saturday, from what I can tell by the weather, because I'm a weather watcher, bring a blanket to the concert, 'cause it's going to be a little cool, not like July. It's going to be in the low 40s, so a little cool. But we're ready, though. We got everything, all the porta potties, and Sherry just got a phone call today about 150 trash toters being delivered tomorrow, and I think we're ready as we can be, so.
Good stuff.
I'll tell you one thing that I've really noticed the last few days, there's a lot of out-of-state cars. I don't know if people noticed that, but there's a lot. That's
early.
And I'm thinking a lot of them's probably rental cars, but
Well, I noticed that Judge Nugent called me and said he wanted all the porta potties put in front of my office. I directed him to him.
We'll get you one.
Yeah, okay.
okay, so Kenny, do you have any comments?
I have nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Tina?
Nothing.
Now, do you want to talk about the
No, I do
porta
not want to talk about porta potties.
potties? Okay.
I'm just glad all the local attorneys have new bathrooms to use.
Oh, true.
Jen, do you have
Uh-huh, it's
anything?
always us.
Aaron?
Till you need us, uh-huh, all right.
I think we're done, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Hey, Chip,